Welcome to the UNSECURITY podcast. Each week, Evan and Brad give an inside look at current information security news, breaches, best practices, and other things you should know to improve your information security. Here are your hosts, FR Secure's Evan Francine and Brad Nye.
Good morning. This is Brad Nye, and this is episode 33 of the UNSECURITY podcast. That's a good start. Anyway, I actually did my part. I got Evan's show notes Friday at like 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Yep.
So I was prepared this week.
I wasn't.
All right. Well, as always, this is Evan with me today. So good morning, Evan.
Good morning, Brad. How are you?
I'm good. How was your week last week?
Good. I think I have trouble remembering. I think it's an age thing, maybe.
I think it's a busyness thing.
Yeah, it could be that.
So last week we'll talk a little bit about this before we jump in. We don't want to spend a lot of time because I think this week is going to be a fun one. As I said, I think
you think so?
I think something we're both pretty passionate about. And I think I could get you riled up.
Yeah, that's true.
But I had our offsite VTO for the senior management last week, and it's amazing. I was telling John on the way back, I don't know how I'm more tired after 2.5 days away, but it's recharging to.
Do you guys actually work on those things, or do you guys just party?
There's so much work, but
really, that's cool.
Hey, it was good because
you guys never
exciting.
I'm not invited to those parties.
No, we were able to get some like fishing in and.
Nice.
We got Oscar caught his first 3 northern. So
nice.
That was fun. He had a good time. But we get a lot done. It's nice to get away from the office.
Yeah, the pictures are cool.
Yeah, just focus on things without being distracted. So
yeah,
it was really good. But yeah, I'm wrapping up. I was finishing up that IR report this morning before we started this, and another one came in last week that we had to do the call.
Yeah, sounds like Oscar's going to take that
He's
one.
going to do that one, just some forensics. Nothing like exposing a database to the internet that has PHI on it. And
an unpatched database too, I think.
Known vulnerabilities.
Cool.
And you could get into the database, or if you logged into the application, you could see other people's data you weren't supposed to.
Don't do that.
That's not good.
No, thank you.
So, yeah. So you had
better them than us.
True. Man. Yeah.
Because I wrote a blog post. You saw it yesterday.
Yes.
It'll be published blasted to social media later on this morning. But the title of the blog post is Don't Suck, Stop Paying Ransoms. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. But as I was writing that, I was like, crap. It would really be ironic, wouldn't it, if you write this thing and you're all kind of pissed off at people, and then you get hit. So I'm gonna have Jeff do just double check things.
I know. Well, that is definitely something that keeps you up as we say these things and talk about it, and
nothing keeps me up. I sleep so well, man.
Yeah.
I just think that, I don't know. I sleep well.
Yeah.
Do you sleep well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sleeping's good.
It is.
I'm good at sleeping. I'm good at eating.
Yeah.
And
there was so much food last week.
And I'm good at riding motorcycles.
Yes.
I went on a rally on Saturday.
Oh, that's cool.
The
weather was pretty.
Saturday was nice.
Was it okay?
Yeah. We went kind of western Minnesota. Just went on a rally, maybe 50 bikes. It was cool.
That's not bad. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I was going to say food. I didn't mention it. I think I showed you one of the pictures. So here's the bonus for the listeners. When we go to these on Wednesday, I smoked a brisket at the offsite and ribs. It was so good.
I like brisket.
Any excuse to be able to smoke a brisket is that's a good day.
It is a good day.
Anyway, all right. So this week we're going to jump right in to the discussion because this is something I think both of us are pretty passionate about, and we want to spend some time discussing it. So really we're going to talk about the Riviera Beach City ransomware incident today. For those of you that haven't heard, Riviera Beach down in Florida paid $600,000 ransom to regain data access to it. So in the show notes, there's 3 stories about it. I think from what I've seen, a lot of it does come from that Palm Beach Post initial story, but then there's a Naked Security for Sophos and InfoSec or InfoSecurity magazine article about it. Has a little bit more opinion and detail on it. So you just wrote the Don't Suck blog.
Now, hey, if I say don't suck, is that inappropriate language?
No.
Okay. I had to ask marketing last week or the week before. I wanted to make a video because I was, kind of heated about something. And I asked them if I could do it and say swear words, and they advised me against it. Actually, one of the marketing people said, yeah, go for it. It'd be awesome because it shows that, this is you. But then the other one was like, yeah, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But suck is not a swear word, is it?
No.
Okay, good. Because we shouldn't. You shouldn't suck.
Oh, I agree.
It sucks to suck.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, we got that out now.
So with the
yeah,
with that in that article, so what happened is it looks like one of the police was phished and clicked on a malicious link, downloaded malware, and just shut down everything. And when we started looking at this, or when I started looking at this, it says that they were advised by the cybersecurity company or the security experts they were working with to pay the ransom. And I can't wait to see more come out because I want to know how bad it was and who recommended that they pay.
You had somebody called out.
Why would you say that? They would have had to have been, there is no way you're recovering. You have no backups. You have no nothing. It's the only way I would ever say you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I still wouldn't recommend it, but
yeah,
I guess maybe
the
semantics on how the wording was, right? It may have been, hey, you have no option but to do this.
Right. Yeah. And in the blog post that you mentioned that I wrote yesterday, which is on evanfrancine.com, the don't suck, stop paying ransoms. I highlight 5 options you have when you get hit by ransomware.
Number 1, go in the corner and cry.
Well, yeah, update your
Number
resume.
2, resume, yeah.
No. But the first is, taking chances by paying the ransom. The second is don't pay the ransom and follow a planned and tested incident response process, which is the best option. Option 3, don't pay the ransom and struggle mightily because you didn't plan well. 4, start over. 5, shut down. And so, it's hard to say where, Riviera Beach was. So allegedly the attack started on May 29th. That's when the employee of the police department opened the malicious email, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
They voted on June 20th. So you have from May 29th to June 20th. I don't know what's going on, but something is going on. And then the Riviera Beach, this is in Florida, City Council voted unanimously to award the attackers the $600,000 ransom. And so by proxy, really, you have the police department paying criminals.
Yeah. And
so you have, what kind of incident response process do you have? What kind of planning do you have in place? If from May 29th to June 20th, I don't know that's like what, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
3 weeks of
trying to clean up and recover and finally going, guess what?
Right. We've responded to a lot of ransomware attacks, and it wouldn't take 3 weeks to realize that that option 2 is out of
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
out of the mix.
Yeah. No, not at all. Usually you can tell
within a day.
Yeah.
You can tell, okay, there's a possibility we might be able to recover. I mean, I remember one ransomware attack not all that long ago, because we respond to 3-4 a week, it seems like, 2 a week, something. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. At least, I'd say 3 or 4 a month. Minimum 1 a week.
Okay, minimum 1 a week. And I remember the one where I thought this was a lost cause. I was like, yeah, because the ransomware not only got the files, but it also got the backups because it didn't air gap correctly. And and I thought, oh, geez, well, see ya.
Right.
I mean, these are your other options, right? Pay the ransom, start over, or close the doors.
Right.
Closing the doors isn't an option. So then it's either pay the ransom or start over. And maybe that's where Riveria Beach was. It's pay the ransom or start over.
And, with the information they have, you can't really start over. 911, medical stuff, all those.
Some critical services.
Yeah.
There. So do you think that they were down? Because the details aren't there. I mean, was 911 down from May 29th until?
It doesn't say, but it kind of sounds like it.
So what the hell?
They were doing it by hand.
How can you do it by hand?
That's what you did 20 years ago.
But nobody knows how to do that anymore.
Well, yeah. Wasn't there something about...
I mean, nowadays people don't know how to, change the TV channel. They have to have Alexa do it.
Yeah.
God, can you imagine the damage if Alexa went down? Like globally?
It wouldn't hurt me at all.
No, not us, but people would freak. My God, I can't figure out my TV. All right, so Riviera Beach voted unanimously after 3 weeks. Maybe they voted earlier. Maybe they paid earlier and then voted later. Who knows? I don't know how those things work in the city of Riviera Beach.
So going back real quick, on the Sophos article, it says email went down and officials had to resort to hand-printed checks to pay employees and 911 dispatchers unable to enter calls into computer systems. That's all it says, but it would appear that was the case until they paid it, the way it's worded to me. Anyway.
All right. So you're down. You decide to pay the ransom. And then they, conveniently mentioned later on, I think in one of the articles, that they had insurance. So like, hey, don't worry about it. We had insurance. It's like, I could give two craps about the fact that you had insurance. The fact is you paid a ransom.
Yeah.
You paid a criminal $600,000.
Right.
What do you think they're going to do with that?
Well, yeah, they're going to turn around and use it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's $600,000. So great. You got your systems back up and running. And I understand you backed yourself into a corner. You're in this spot really because you
poor planning.
Poor planning, right? You have lack of forethought, lack of skill, lack of what? I mean, what's your excuse for not planning ahead? Have you not seen that ransomware is like a thing?
Right. And I think we were talking about this a little bit on Friday. It's been around for 25 plus years,
30.
Ransomware? 30 years?
Yeah, the first variant I remember was 1989.
Yeah, it was
I can't remember the name of it, but it was.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get corrected online for that. But
yeah.
Even if it had only been 2 years, 5 years, there's no excuse at this point not to have an IR plan, not to know that this is a realistic possipossibility.
I mean, are you living under a rock?
Well, and it was like...
And then all of a sudden, after the breach, because it is a breach, I mean, after the ransomware attack, and you vote to pay the $600,000-ish to the attackers, then they also mentioned in one of the articles that, their $941,000 upgrade, systems upgrade is now a priority. It's like, why does it take something bad to happen before people wake up? Yeah. The damage is done. If I was a taxpayer in that town, I would be pissed. And I mean, seriously, $600,000 gone.
And then, and it mentioned like that some of these systems were over, over 6 years old or something. I think I saw that in there.
But even then, I mean, not having a backup, not having
old systems that aren't backed up. What's the patching look like?
Well,
probably not very good.
Well, even if they were, I mean, and if they were backed up, obviously the backups weren't protected. So who cares? Do you remember the old days when we had tape backups?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Took you a little while.
I was
like tape
that. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. We had tape
it's
backups.
Still out there.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's not necessarily a bad backup method. Right. And then people would store, we'd say, well, you need to store your backups, X number of miles away from the primary site. Should a tornado come or, wipe out the city or something. The same sort of thing happens in a logical context. If your backups are not physical, right? If you've got logical backups, store them in a way that a disaster wouldn't affect those backups. The same concept applies.
Yeah. Yeah. So the last, again, I'll go back, air quotes, real job. We had tape. Everything was tape when I got there. And we got it back up to disk local, replicated to a secondary data center about 90 miles away, 75 miles away, and then backed up the fulls to tape once a week and shipped those offsite.
Right.
So we had local for immediate restore, a remote backup for a disaster at the primary site, and then air gap tapes. We would have lost a week of data, but that was our absolute worst case.
Worst case scenario.
If we have to restore from tape, we're having a bad day.
Yeah, I mean these things are not new. Right?
No,
I mean it's not like this is some crazy newfangled thing that. I mean, it's like just good stewardship. It's just like good.
Yeah,
I don't get it, man.
And what blew my mind on this, the quote so going back and tying it into the whole how do you not know, is one of the council chairwoman. Her quote is, "This whole thing is so new to me and so foreign, it's almost where I can't even believe this happens. But I'm learning that it's not as uncommon as we would think it is. Every day I'm learning how this even operates because it sounds so far-fetched to me." This is a person in charge of the city, basically the council,
so living
city council,
under a rock,
completely unaware that this is a that this happens. How do you not know that's one of the biggest risks to your data, to your city at this point?
Well, I mean, so do I blame her or do I blame the person who's supposed to inform her? Like, I'm harder on security people than I am on what I call normal people.
Well, and
so part of my job is to inform you. Part of my job is to tell you.
Right? I would say there's, do they even have a security person?
You got to have an IT person. I mean, somebody within that government.
You would think somebody would say something, but also have you not heard any news story? Atlanta, Baltimore, right? Like, are you under a rock? Like, how do you not know
right
that these other cities are being targeted?
Right.
Baltimore twice.
Yeah. Well, and so I don't know. I don't blame the councilwoman as much as I blame whoever's in charge of security there. I mean, maybe everybody's got some culpability, but because I hear that as an excuse a lot. I hear the excuse of, well, I can't get management buy-in. Well, it's your job to get management buy-in.
Yeah.
If you can't get management buy-in, look in the mirror first, right? And sometimes you just have poor management, right? Then leave.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more of a black and white, simple kind of guy. I mean, if your management won't listen, leave.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of... I'm really going to be interested to see how what the details are on this, because somebody should have alerted that, hey, we're at risk here.
Mm-hmm.
And then as chairwoman, I must look at that as, a C-level of a private business.
Mm-hmm.
It's your job to understand the risks to the organization too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You start seeing these news stories come out in your industry or your sector.
Right.
How do you not ask those questions?
So it's so foreign to her.
She's like, oh, what?
Yeah, ransom who?
And it's not like the Atlanta and Baltimore ones haven't been all over the news.
Right. I don't know. How do we get the word out? I mean, for people like this, how do we reach them? How do you get the word to them that, look, you got to take this seriously. If you're in charge of something,
right?
Part of being in charge of something means that you're in charge of protecting the assets. You're in charge of protecting the information. You're in charge of serving your constituents or whatever. This is part of that. I mean, why is it such a surprise to her? I mean, I don't know. That's the challenge.
I think, part of it would be you need to, if you're in charge, you need to be asking questions, right? Hey, I saw this, or I heard about this. What are we doing about it? Some of the better and best people I've worked for from a C-level perspective have asked those questions. Mm-hmm. And I know I loved it, because then they're bought in, or they're wanting to know.
Right.
But to go, who knew?
Well, that's what I don't get. I mean, how, it's just, I'm frustrated, with the fact that this is a preventable occurrence. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily 100% preventable to get hit by ransomware, but the recovery piece is 100% preventable. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can totally restore systems if you have, one, the data, two, if you have an incident response process or plan that would be effective. And if you don't have those things, seek help. I mean, there are tons of information security people out there that would be willing to help you for nothing.
Right.
There's tons of articles online on how to protect yourself. I mean, I've lost patience with people that keep getting hit by ransomware.
I'm with you. You've got in your article a bunch of other examples. There's other ones in the Palm Beach Post. They said 2018, Palm Beach County Village of Palm Springs was hit, paid the undisclosed ransom, and still lost 2 years of data.
So they paid the ransom.
And still an undisclosed amount, and still lost 2 years of data.
So it's a city that didn't disclose the amount? Wouldn't that be public? It's got to come out of some line item budget somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Well,
it's probably the insurance, right? So they paid
just
whatever their insurance premium is. But
just in the last few weeks, I wrote about the city of Baltimore, ASCO. We talked about the ASCO ransomware attack last week.
Yep.
I found another article about 5 more healthcare providers that were hit by ransom. You have NEO Urology in Colorado. They paid the $75,000 ransom. You've got Colorado-based Estes Park Health. They paid their insurance premium, and the insurance company ended up paying 2 separate ransoms. So not 1, but 2.
How did they not know the initial encryption was there?
I don't know. Boston-based Residex Software, New York-based Olean Medical Group, Seneca Nation Health System. They all appear to not want to pay or won't pay potentially the ransom. Then you've got California-based Shingle Springs Health and Wellness Center, 21,513 patients. So these things are like everyday occurrences happening all over the place. Mm-hmm. And people, and I think I even said something bold. I can't remember. I'm going to find it in my article, because I was like, man, that kind of makes sense. But I don't know if it's going to piss people off. What did I say? Well, first of all, I don't understand what the excuse is. There is none.
Right.
For preparing. There just isn't. I'm sorry. No. That's the truth. And so you might have all sorts of excuses that you think are legitimate excuses, but they're BS.
Right.
Yeah. So the excuses, the common ones, management support, that's the classic. I can't get management to buy in. That's kind of your job, right? To get management buy-in.
Right.
And if you can't do it, well, then find some other way. It's just an obstacle that you need to either get over, get through, go under, or leave.
Well, and that's what we've talked about that in the past, is how do you, as part of your job, that's one of the areas I think security people struggle in is that communication to your quote unquote normal people. Mm-hmm. And how do we get that buy-in, and how do you communicate? And that needs to be something that across the board we need to be better at.
Right. Well, send them to my blog post. Maybe if they read that.
Yeah.
Or maybe they won't read. Maybe you can wait for the movie. Maybe you can wait to be part of the news yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's frustrating. Like we have another one, an active one, and they use their initial group of hours, and we're like, you still have active attackers in your systems. We need to keep working. Like, nope, time out. Hold on. I need a summary report. I need to go through and decide if insurance is going to pay or not. If they don't pay, am I going to pay? Like, you have
an attacker in your
actively
system.
In there. We've got software alerting us that they're doing stuff. It's blocking it for now, but it's a trial. It's going to expire. It's been 2 weeks. They haven't done anything.
No.
It's infuriating.
Yeah. So what are the other excuses? Priorities. We're all busy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But I tell you, you're going to get a whole lot busier if this happens.
Oh my God. You're not kidding. Well, in priorities, I mean, where would this fit on your priority list? So if you've got 1,000 different things on your list to do as a security person or as whatever, somebody who's in charge of IT even, where would this fit? Meaning plan for a ransomware attack, try to prevent it, but then plan for the eventual occurrence. Where would you fit this on your priority list?
It'd be top 5, top 3, depending on
pretty high up there,
where things are at.
And some people would already just if you've been around long enough, if you've been in security, been in IT long enough, you'd already be like, yeah, duh. I mean, of course I've got backups, and of course those backups are protected. But
you have to check that stuff. I'm with you. Yeah.
So then, yeah.
How about you? Where would your priority? Where would you put it?
It's hard to say number one because every company's got something weird, but yeah, it'd be top 5 for sure.
Yeah, it kind of depends on.
I mean,
hey, our firewall's any. Well, crap.
Well, one of the things I'm going to do, actually today, is go talk to Jeff here and have him do our ransomware readiness assessment, the one that I cited in the article.
Yeah, that'd be good I'd be interested to see what his take is on it.
Yeah. Because in 2017, I put together the ransomware readiness assessment, and nothing's really changed. I mean, this isn't rocket science. This is nothing innovative here. It's ransomware.
Yeah. Right.
And so, what's innovative is maybe adding a worm component or, a different encryption algorithm, a different hacking group, whatever. I mean,
and what's crazy is how many of these it all comes back to the people too, right? Somebody clicked on an email. Or
sometimes, I mean, I saw one attack where it was an RDP server.
It does
misconfigured.
Happen, but yeah, more often than not, it feels like it's. And again, then now that's a failure. How did that email get through and all that? But anyway.
Well, on that one, it was a bus company. It was a pretty good sized bus company, and they were hit once and then restored from backup.
Okay. Oh.
And they were hit again.
I remember this.
And then they called and they're like, yeah, we can't figure this out.
What's going on?
Yeah. I'm like, well, there's obviously, they're either still there or they keep getting in there. Turns out they had RDP open on their Exchange server, and that's
not ideal.
No, it makes it easy to admin when attackers aren't adminning with you. Yeah. So anyway, the thing that really ticks me off about paying ransoms, I'm a competitive guy, and I know you are.
Mm-hmm.
I hate losing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, giving $600,000.
Giving $600 pisses me off to that.
Some jackwagon. I mean,
right.
So, one, we already talked a little bit about it. You fund future attacks.
Right.
Right. So the money that, Riviera Beach just gave to the attackers, some portion of that money is going to be diverted to attacking somebody else.
Right. And where does that money come out of from Riveria Beach? Who suffers? Education, the police. Somebody's going to
be on the other end of that.
Yeah.
And the fact that, well, you have insurance. But
it doesn't pay all of it.
Well, and even then, insurance companies aren't in business to lose money.
Well, right. And guess what? Their premiums are what's going to happen to them?
Right. Everybody's going to have to pay more.
Get it at this point.
So it's just, I don't know, that's selfish. Definitely not a good steward of information. The attackers win, which ticks me off. And that's money too. I mean, if you're the city of, if I'm a resident of that city, actually, I'm going to go to my city. I'm going to go out and talk to City Hall. I think we should all do that. Mm-hmm. What city do you live in? You live in Chan.
Victoria.
Victoria. I live in Waconia. I'm going to go to the Waconia City Hall and I'm going to say, I read this thing about Riviera Beach. Can you tell me how you're protected from this?
Yeah.
As a resident, I should be able to get that answer.
Absolutely have that right to have that answer. I feel like you should.
Will you make a pact with me?
Yeah,
you do
I'll
it.
do it.
You go to your city. I'm going to go to my city. And then next week next week we'll report on what we were told.
Okay. If we hear anything back.
What the hell? I'm not leaving until I do. It's my city. I paid.
We got the holiday coming up. So that's the only thing.
But that's next week.
That's true.
This week. I mean, I'm talking like tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll reach out to him today and see what happens.
I'm going to drive in and I'm going to be there in person. I'm going to go there in person.
I have to look at my calendar.
But I really do want to know because as a resident, we need to start demanding answers of people and even companies that we share information with. We need to start demanding answers.
Yeah.
Because if you're not protecting my information, if you're not protecting the city and you're expecting to raise my taxes to pay for a $600,000 ransomware payment,
and
because you suck at your job,
right? And then the extra $900,000 for systems, where
Well, yeah, that I would expect. I mean, that's maintenance.
Yeah,
right?
But was it?
I would have expected to have already paid that.
Well,
because you can justify that with me. What you can't justify is paying $600,000 to somebody because you suck at your job.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, you just Carver County. That's where we live too.
Yeah, the county.
They have the 911 system. I'm going to go ask them too.
Yeah, because I don't think my city council doesn't. We don't have it's all Carver County.
I just added something to my task list. I am checking that out. Everybody should. Listeners, go ask your city what they're doing.
City and county, what are you guys doing for this to prevent the next Atlanta, Baltimore, Riviera Beach?
Yeah, and if you need help, there's lots of places you can get help. Point them to my blog post. There's a free ransomware readiness assessment that they can take.
Yeah. At least you've done that's more defensible than head in the sand.
Oh my God. Yeah. If my city comes out like Riviera Beach, I don't know. I mean, you really have no recourse. I guess I would just have to.
You'd have to run for city council and change things.
Nobody would ever vote for me, man. I tell the truth.
You never know.
The only politician I know who tells the truth is the Honorable Jim Nash.
Most of the time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's true. Nobody tells the truth all the time. But anyway, stop sucking, stop paying ransoms, prepare, and then you don't have to pay the ransom.
Yeah.
Because you're taking a chance on that too. I mean, I know that the ransomware, I think the last I saw is about 93, 96-ish% of the time, the key you get back from the attacker does actually unlock the ransomware. But what happens if I pay the ransom and then they don't give me the key? They're a criminal. I mean, what recourse do I have?
Yeah, you don't have none.
Exactly. Or what happens if I pay once? Don't you think the attackers know that? Well, they paid once. Why wouldn't they pay again? Let's just hit them again.
Right. No. Yeah.
So, just stop it. It's so preventable and it's so frustrating. I mean, we got so many other things to work on. And just get backups, air gap them, start there.
Yeah. What was interesting to me on this is, so the FBI was asked about it because they said they were investigating
the Riviera Beach one.
Yeah.
Why? I wonder why they're investigating.
Government. It was an attack on the government.
Nice, maybe.
But their comment was last year, 1,493 ransomware attacks were reported, with victims paying $3.6 million, so $2,400 per attack. But that's also including individuals. And how many of these go completely unreported?
Oh, yeah.
I'd guess 97%.
A huge percent don't ever get reported.
Right? So, I mean, even if you said, 60%, 50%?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3,000 attacks last year.
Yeah, that's way low.
I would guess.
And just look at our little corner of the world, right? I mean, we get at least
this year,
at least one a week.
Ransomware this year, I would say, gosh, I'm trying to think, probably 6 or 7.
Okay.
And that's, no, you know what? It's probably low because we'll get in and catch it and find the indicators before they actually launch the encryption. It's probably closer to, 10 or 15. And that's just, I mean, we're small from that side, relatively speaking.
Sure. Yeah.
Can't imagine what, the Cisco's and AT&T and was it Mandiant and all them, they're probably seeing a lot more.
Well, they're saying bigger scale ones because they're expensive as hell.
Yeah.
You think?
True.
Yeah. I mean, they're not cheap.
No.
That's another thing too. I mean, if you haven't planned well, get out your checkbook, man. I mean, you're either going to pay, if you haven't planned well, you're either going to pay security consultants, in quotes, tons of money, or pay ransomware, pay the ransom.
Right.
Or, pay your insurance deductible, and then the insurance company can pay, which just ticks me off too. I don't think they should even be covered, to tell you the truth.
And that's, that's the question is, right, it's kind of surprising they did cover it. I wonder how long this happens before insurance companies really start knuckling down and saying, nope, you were negligent. Nope, we're not covering it.
Well, I mean, and if you think about it, doesn't it seem sort of negligent that you wouldn't back up your data and protect your data adequately?
I'm not arguing. I'm just wondering how long before the insurance companies catch up with that.
Well, I know they don't like paying. They don't like paying claims, just in general, because again, they're in business to make money, not to actually cover stuff.
And one more, there's so much about this. It was interesting on May 30th, the day after the infection, the ransomware was $540,765 at Bitcoin's closing price. And then when they paid it June 20th, it was $619,000. So they ended up paying $80,000 more because they waited those 3 weeks. Anyway.
Did you see my advice that if you didn't plan, you should slap yourself hard?
How did I miss that?
You should slap yourself hard, update your resume, and maybe find another line of work. People suffered and or will suffer because of your poor choices.
Yeah.
See, I'm sure I'm going to piss somebody off at that.
Hey, you know what, though? I was thinking about this, and I almost posted in my reply to you, or when you posted the show notes, I was like, there's a higher than average, or, there's a good chance we're going to piss off a lot of people in this podcast.
Think so?
And, oh, yeah. I think so.
That's right.
There's a lot of people that are going to agree with it as well.
Maybe they should be pissed off. Then.
But to some extent, I think at some point you got to say enough is enough and start calling people out. Right? It's not. We're not at a spot where you can say, I don't know how you can justify not knowing that this is a legitimate risk to your organization. Right.
Well, and sometimes fear is a motivator. Sometimes anger is a motivator. Just get motivated. Just do something, right? At the end of my article, it's the moral of the story is 1, prepare and plan. 2, do not pay ransoms. And 3, we're all in this together. Because I'll help. I mean, I don't work like a lawyer. If you call me, I'm not going to send you a bill.
No, if you call us, we'll do that initial triage to let you know what's going on.
Well, that's assuming you've already been hit.
Oh,
I mean, we'll give you all sorts of free articles, free advice, free tools.
Oh, yeah, that
to
too.
get you planning.
We've got all kinds, like on the ransomware readiness, the IR categorization tool. Those are both free downloads off of frsecure.com.
Yep.
Have those two things.
Do we even make you register for that? Or can you just
I think you just need a name and an email address.
So here's a insider tip. If you go to my blog, you don't have to do that. You can just grab it.
Yeah.
You don't have to give any information. I just want you to get your stuff together, man.
Just do something.
Right. I mean, I'm not looking to make any money because we make plenty on the people who don't plan. So just plan ahead.
And I'll tell you this, it is a whole lot cheaper to do the planning and work ahead of time than to recover afterwards. I mean, when you look at IR recovery, $500 to $1,000 an hour, that's not uncommon.
Right.
It's just, it is what it is. That's the industry that's out there. So doing that work ahead of time, it's not fun. It's not easy.
This is where I had it. Yeah. So my second reason for not paying the ransom was it shows that you're not a good steward. Somebody entrusted you with information and they deserve better. The information in most cases isn't yours. It belongs to someone else. If you can't take good care of it, you shouldn't have it. If you need it to run your business, then maybe you shouldn't be in business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the facts, man.
Right.
If you can't take care of stuff.
And there's a TV wheeling by the studio here. We were.
Oh, yeah. They can't see it, though.
No. That's why we suddenly both stopped and looked. Not that they could see it. But, I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm done ranting now. My blood pressure's high. I got to take my medication.
Right. So, based on that, I didn't do a whole lot of extra news. There's so much out there that we could just go on and on and on.
Ransomware?
Just security news, just the latest. Firefox had a 0-day, so make sure you update Firefox. If it doesn't, check, make sure that it's updating itself.
Patch everything. That's another one of those like good general housekeeping things.
Yeah. So I found an interesting article, data breaches by state. So it was comparatech.com, data breaches by state, and it was number of reported breaches by state, which pull it up here. This was published on June 20th. And it was interesting that it was from 2008 through 2019, and California had like by far the most. It was interesting to see, I want to kind of go in and understand why, but I think maybe part of it is, like I said, there's such a huge amount of tech companies based out of California. So when you have
they have really strict breach notification rules.
Well, and that's part of it as well, right? So I think between the two things, that's why. But yeah, they had almost 1,493 breaches. New York was second at 729, Texas at 661, and then Oregon at 152. Oh, and it's based, but it was interesting. So California had almost 1,500 breaches with 5.6 billion records exposed. But then Oregon had 152 and 1.37 billion records. So there's not a direct correlation between the two, but it was interesting. I like digging into those numbers. It was pretty cool to see that.
So the title is "Which States Have the Most Data Breaches?" Data breaches by U.S. state on Comparatech.
Yeah.
COMPARITECH.com. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, there's
data,
definitely
for sure.
there's probably a lot more behind it.
Yeah, what's their source? Did they say?
It was
Because
I saw it.
yeah,
I saw it in there. So I thought,
let's assume they have one.
yeah.
Oh, there's a spreadsheet. They made their data available in a spreadsheet. That's nice.
So
we
they've
can
got their methodology in there.
monkey with it. That's cool. Good stuff.
And they've got all their sources, but basically Privacy Rights Clearinghouse and Identity Theft Resource Center collate information for data breaches across the U.S. and use those as their primary sources. Double checking and removing duplicates.
Cool.
So,
All right.
that's pretty cool.
Lots of breaches.
There's a lot of really good sources in there as well. So that'll be a fun one. I'm sure people will play around with those numbers and dig into that.
Mm-hmm.
The other one I had was the LabCorp and Quest breaches. The collections firms that was behind both of those, filed for bankruptcy. So there's some interesting, comments on there, and
They
this
do
is
that.
on
To
security.
try to protect themselves from liability.
Well, that's kind of the thought Krebs puts in there. They're already facing 3 class action lawsuits from plaintiffs in New York and California, and to me, that's kind of crappy if they can go bankruptcy and
the same
avoid
thing
it.
happens in construction all the time.
Yeah.
Construction companies will shut down.
They'll create
open up another one the same day.
Yeah, they'll create a subsidiary or a new company to build a development, and then when it's done, they shut it down. Anything's wrong, too bad, they're gone.
Yeah, it's a loophole for sure.
And I think, to me, some of that could be, well, if you maybe start going after the, C levels of those, right?
Well, we have such a litigious society in general. I mean, it's crazy. Just the lawyers. I mean, they're like, not all of them, but some of them seem like they're just bloodsuckers, Because in the class action lawsuits, assume if one of them wins, who makes all the money?
The lawyers do. The people get nothing.
It's just another form of ambulance chasing.
But there's got to be something to until there's some actual.
If you want to hold them accountable, then
accountability. Yeah, there's nothing to stop them from closing shop and opening it again as under another name.
So the name of the company is Retrieval Masters Credit Bureau. Mm-hmm. American Medical Collection Agency. That's the company that filed bankruptcy?
AMCA, yeah.
AMCA. That was the LabCorp.
Yeah,
Quest Diagnostics breach.
Quest was 11.9 million records and LabCorp was 7.7 million. And both of them stopped sending business after the breach disclosure, as did their other 2 biggest customers. So,
interesting story. So on Krebs' site, he's also got a link to the bankruptcy filing. Now, I wonder what would happen. I don't know how bankruptcy works, but can the judge deny the filing?
I think they can.
That'd be cool.
Just because you file doesn't mean you automatically you're like, ooh, cleared free.
Yeah. Like, here's our strategy. We're going to declare bankruptcy. And the judge's like, no, sorry.
That'd be
Can
pretty
that
fun.
happen?
What's interesting.
Lawyer, so I don't know.
In the Krebs article, they said that the expenses were more than 3.8 million spent mailing more than the 7 million individual notices. And then that the CEO personally lent the company $2.5 million for this.
The CEO personally?
To me, I don't have any sympathy. Right? Oh, yeah, it's expensive when you screw up.
CEO Russell H. Fuchs, Fuchs, personally lent the company $2.5 million to help pay for those mailings.
Yeah, IT and consultants had spent $400,000. They'd spent $400,000.
Hey, just FYI, if we have a breach here, I don't have $2.5 million to give you guys to give this company.
We're just declaring bankruptcy and starting up as something else.
No, I'd probably face the music. I don't know. I have to sleep well at night.
No, I was kidding.
I do sleep well.
I know.
We started the podcast off with that.
Yeah.
I do sleep well. I sleep well because I think, just kind of at peace with
if you
stuff you do,
if you do the right thing, and it's easy, but
interesting. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy when they're not doing basic stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know how the breach took place. It's not one that I really looked into deeply, so I don't know how it originally took place.
I forgot. I looked into it, and
So I do know that no matter what you do, right? I mean, that's the facts, is no matter what you do, you can't prevent all bad things from happening. So a breach will occur. Just, you sort of have to accept that, right? It's how you react to it. It's when you detected it, how you reacted to it, how you responded. All those things kind of taken into context, I think, is going to make me mad or not mad.
Yeah. So the that breach was where'd it go? They learned of the breach after receiving notices saying a high number of credit cards tied to its web portal were connected to fraudulent charges, and that they had probably something unsecured on their website, and they were taking payments, and whoop.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then that they
looked into that.
They had slashed staff from 113 to 25 at the end of 2018. So
don't have a breach.
Yeah, no, it's really expensive.
Or if you do, just have a good plan in place.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Because if I had a good plan in place and I am being sued, I mean, I'm still going to have the legal expenses. You'll always have that because lawyers got to get paid, obviously. But at least I wouldn't be found negligent because I've got a defensible position.
And I think, you're probably going to have less legal expenses if you have, hey, here's everything we've done, here's everything, and you provide all of that rather than having to dig through things and try and figure it out. And yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Anyway,
well, good show, man.
Yeah, this was fun. All right, so with that, we will wrap it up. Thank you again to all of our listeners. Don't forget to reach out to us and email us either at unsecurity@protonmail.com, or you can hit Evan or myself on Twitter. I'm at Brad Nye, and Evan is at Evan Francine. Thank you, Evan. And
thank you, man.
Everyone has a great week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Unsecurity Podcast. We value our listeners and would love to hear from you. Give us your feedback by emailing us at unsecurity@protonmail.com. That's UNSECURITY@PROTONMAIL.com. Be sure to tune in next week to hear the latest insights from Brad and Evan.